Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to today's Hangout, What's New for Fabrication in Revit 2016. My name is William Spear, and I'm delighted to be your moderator today. And today we're going to be covering what's new for the Revit to fabrication and back round-trip process. And after the presentation is over, at the end we'll open up for questions for anything you have related to the topic, to the BIM fab workflow. We have some of our experts on the line as well that are more than happy to help address your questions, so go ahead and type those questions in. We encourage you to interact with us and let us know what's on your mind. This webinar is being recorded and will be available to you on our YouTube channel as well. And if you haven't done so already, search Applied Software on Facebook and like our page to receive the latest information and special offers we have. And when you visit our website, it's asti.com. And there's a complete schedule of upcoming training and events there. Take a look for our upcoming webinars and events. Today there's also going to be a $25 gift card giveaway that will take place at the end of the Hangout. You got to be online to win. You got to be present, so don't hang up. We're going to pick one of you that has asked a question and select you for that gift card. All right, so our speaker today happens to specialize in the MEP and architectural products and provides training and implementation and product support services for all that. He is experienced in designing and implementing BIM processes and workflows. He's an Autodesk certified instructor and a certified product support professional. He's also achieved Autodesk AEC Technical Sales Professional and Autodesk Fabrication Specialization statuses. He's recently also authored a training course that is Revit for Fabrication, and previously worked for architectural firms and MEP and consulting engineers. So please join me in welcoming today's speaker, Gabe Hernandez. All right, with that, Gabe, I'm turning the floor over to you.
All right, thanks, William. I appreciate that. It's a great introduction. All right, guys, so today what I want to do is get right into it. I want to talk about a couple of enhancements that have been recently released in the new Revit 2016 Release 2. There's four new enhancements that I want to talk about, and I'm actually going to show you guys a little bit about how the new functionality works. But it does, and it has improved the workflow for the fabrication parts modeling in Revit MEP. The first one we're going to talk about is the rotation controls. There's some new in-canvas options and also in the ribbon options for rotating a little bit better than we used to have in the past. We have new and better control for inserting inline parts and components as well. And when we're working between different services, the new show service tool or feature really comes in handy to, again, help speed up and improve your productivity. The last tool that we're going to discuss is the placing taps tool, which really is huge when it comes to working with the duct work and the parts workflow. We were having issues in the first couple of releases when placing parts like this, especially taps. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit about how that works and how these improvements can help. Let's get into Revit. So the first enhancement that I want to talk about is the enhanced rotation controls. If you look here on my screen, there's here on this little fitting here, this elbow, you'll notice that in the past we had the rotation grip or control here, but now I have the ability to select the different angles and choose from angles in a list. I can use the drop-down list here to select from the different angles available in my project. I can change this to 90-degree increments so that when I rotate my fitting, it rotates in 90 degrees. If I wanted to go ahead and just rotate in 40-degree increments, just like what I had it set to, up here on the ribbon on the fabrication parts edit panel, you have the ability to rotate 45 degrees. If you want to do it in any other increment, you can also just select it from the list here. Also, one of the new features for parts enhancements, let me set up my systems here. I'm going to go into my piping system. For parts enhancements or inline parts, now you have the ability to have the insert part option. You can select this here in the ribbon, and this again will help expedite the placement of the part where you're trying to place it in line on your pipes here. So with this, with it unselected, you'll notice how difficult it is. It wants to go to the end connectors, but once I've selected the actual option, when I hover over my parts here, I can also use my space bar just like we have in the past. I can toggle the connectors using the up and down arrows or the up arrows. And I can also hide the tooltip if it's getting in the way. After placement, of course, you always have the options to do the rotate as well. I can rotate it in specific increments, or I can, again, just keep it at the 45 degrees. Let's go into the next feature. So one of the new enhancements to improve productivity is the show service tool. So right now, we were working in parts and our pipes and valves, but I now want to go ahead and switch over into my duct fittings and add some duct connectors here, some round to rectangular to round parts connector here. What you can do now is I can select on my duct work, and in the ribbon up at the top under the MEP parts panel, I can select now show service, and what that does will automatically change my MEP parts fabrication browser to reflect the actual system that I'm working with. So now with this rectangular system there set up, I can go in to use my square to round. Also, one of the new enhancements that's, again, is going to improve your productivity is the tap connect as tap here. This new option will allow you to connect easier when you're working with taps and connecting different sizes and different duct styles as well. I can go in here. I'm going to go ahead and adjust my part. So that's 8. One thing I like about this is that it does increment into inches. I could also edit the part in the ribbon. I can type in EP, which is my hotkeys to get to my connector properties and my dimension information to adjust. And then once I hover over my duct part here, this is where it was getting difficult in the past, but I can toggle or connect as tap, and you'll notice that it now straightens up and it does work a little bit better. I can place one there and then use my modify tools to align. I can go back and do the same thing for this different size. I can say this is going to be 10 by 10 by 10. Make sure that I have connect as tap. Hover over. Now you'll notice that it's on the opposite side of this duct, but if I hit my space bar, you'll notice that it flips over to the correct side. And then again, I can use my modify tools to make sure that everything is aligned. And just to make sure that everything is correct, again, one of the new features in 2016, I can select all my geometry, and up here under the modify fabrication parts, I have this new selection box tool, which allows me to create a quick section, 3D section of the area, so that I can review my geometry, make sure that everything is correct. Now you also can use different taps and different styles, so we'll try some different taps here just to show you the functionality a little bit better. In this case, I'll use a conical tap, and again, set the size accordingly. In my type properties, I can do it in my edit parts option up here in the ribbon as well. Hover over my geometry, place my part, select it, use my selection box to review and make sure that my parts are adapting correctly. Now, one last thing that I want to show as far as the new parts components, those were the 4 basic functions or new features. You had the enhanced rotation, where you now have the ability to rotate your parts in Canvas. You have the new part insertion option, so if I went back into selecting on my pipe here, I can use the show service to get back to my palette, the correct palette or browser. And I have the new inline part option to place an inline part. And then you have the place taps option that we just covered. One last thing that I want to show you that is more of a platform and not specifically to fabrication, but for you out there that are using manufacturer-specific content, one of the new things to note that I wanted to talk about was in families now, when you take a manufacturer, a very complex family, you have the ability to separate the voids and the solids. So what makes this family large, and sometimes when when there's a lot of them, it can increase the file size dramatically, are the voids in some of these complex families. So when I highlight the entire object, you're now able to filter out my voids so that there's 22 mechanical voids that I can remove from this model, from this manufacturer's model. It takes away a little bit of the detail, but I didn't really need any of that detail anyway, and that will actually help me reduce the file size and improve performance in my models. Especially when it comes to MEP and fabrication, the leaner is always better.
Hey, Gabe.
Yeah.
A couple of quick questions here for you. When you were cutting in the fitting into the vertical pipe, question came up, can we rotate that in smaller degrees, in assigned specific degrees, or do you have to use the rotate tool, or what other options are there?
Yes, you can do specific degrees. So when I select on this, I can select on the rotation tool, and if I wanted to do, maybe 15-degree increments, I can type it in and then rotate it. And I can definitely do that. Like I said, the 45-degree one is up here at the top. So if you're just working with 45 degrees, it's easier to use the tool and the ribbon. If you're trying to use a custom degrees or custom text or option, then you type it in.
Okay,
good
super.
Question.
One other question was, how did you know which flanges to use when you cut in the valve?
Let's see here. In the part, you have the part editor.
Hey, Gabe, to answer that, this is Lyle. On that, that's going to follow your connectivities and your connectors within the fabrication database. So, as you can see here, you don't have access to the full database, but that's all being controlled by the fabrication database. So that's how your connectors and flanges and so forth come in based off of your items in your service.
All right, super.
And the services that I'm using in this demonstration are going to be just the out-of-the-box services. So everything that you're seeing here is out of the box.
Out of the box with the value pack, the applied software.
Value pack, okay.
Applied software value pack. So there's some things to make it connect a little bit smoother.
Okay.
All right, good enough. Thank you. Keep right on going.
All right, so let's see. So we talked about some of those enhancements, and you guys had some good questions. Are there any more questions that you guys want to talk about discussing any of these new features? There are about 25 new enhancements that have been released with this version, the R2 version, and I suggest that you guys take a look at all the platform updates as well. There's some pretty neat ones like the project browser. When you're scrolling up and down, it stays in place now. It doesn't move, which is huge, especially when you're working with projects that have lots of views. So there's a lot of little things, and if you guys have any questions, feel free to hit us up, and we'll be more than happy to talk to you guys about those.
Yeah, we get some more questions rolling in now if you want to field some of these.
Sure, let's do it.
All right. Can you use the attach as tap on fittings, say the heel of a duct or elbow? Does it only work on straights?
Lyle?
I'd have to test that. I haven't, to be honest, Gabe, really looked at those new features yet inside of Revit. From what I was seeing there, it looks like you've got to set the size on those taps before you place it correct. So it doesn't know the size of the pipe or the duct when you tap off of it.
Right. So if I was trying to put a fitting in here,
Well, go back if you go back to like the rectangle
oh, and
example,
ductwork.
and
Okay.
on the ductwork, and you're placing that tap, you've got to set the size. It doesn't know what it's attaching
Right.
to.
Right. You can edit the part in the properties dialog box. You can type it in your properties here for primary and secondary, and you can also edit the part in the ribbon, or the hotkey for this, or the shortcut key, keyboard key is EP, and that also brings up your edit part dialog box.
Okay. So it's not pulling that information from that piece it's attaching to.
No.
Okay.
All right. Can you edit the elevation of a fabrication fitting or the service abbreviation? Can you tag that?
Can you tag it?
Right. Can you label the elevation or the service
No.
abbreviation? Not yet. Okay. Yeah,
Not
I
yet.
know that's been a long requested.
Right.
Yeah, using the standard fabrication tags that you're used to in like CAD MEP, I haven't seen it be able to work yet either.
I assume the next question is probably asking the same thing. Is there annotation on services? So that would probably be no then as well.
Correct.
Well, Gabe, the only thing that you can tag, I believe, is using maybe the size
Tag.
Right.
Right. What is it, just the duct size? Let me go in here.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much what we're limited to.
Okay.
Yep.
It's
usually in the transfer
that
we. Go ahead.
That's right. I had a question. I'm not sure exactly how to understand what this is asking, but I'll try to see if you guys get it. So if you do not have fabrication, you cannot edit services. I'm not sure what he's asking by that.
No, that is correct. If you don't have fabrication, Autodesk allows you to download like a default configuration, but to manage the services that are in here, you will need to have either fabrication CAD MEP, SMEP, or CAM duct. That's their intentions as of now. Is you're still going to use fabrication to manage and modify your services. Now, to add a service, you can add services to the Revit project, but they're going to be from your existing service selection, and you are not able to modify that within Revit.
Okay, I misunderstood. I understand now. Do I have fabrication? Have to have it installed. Got it. Somebody was asking if you just cut a T into the pipe and show how that works. To your vertical pipe.
Sure. So again, using that show service, set my T, insert part, and then I can use my space bar to rotate, place my T.
And somebody else was asking if you can insert parts on a slope pipe. I'm assuming the answer to that is yes, but you have to work at it to get the pipe sloped if you're going to do it in this environment.
Yeah, you'd have to slope it and have it set properly, but it should react the same as if it wasn't sloped.
Sure, physically slope it, pitch it, and then just cut in like we just saw.
Correct. Because it should still follow, I'd have to test that, but it should follow similar to like CAD MEP if you've got your angle, because the items have an angle tolerance on them, but I'd have to, it's a good question to further test and see how that reacts.
Okay. I guess the second to last question now. Is there any plan to incorporate inherent size and elevation with fab parts? In other words, space bar while drafting.
Not that I'm aware of.
Not sure. I mean, we do know that Autodesk is working to incorporate a lot more of the fabrication features inside of Revit, but as far as knowing exactly what those are, we're not sure yet at this time.
Okay. Next question. I'll actually field this question. Anything new with FAB Electrical parts? So I'm assuming what you're asking, and this is Ethan asking this, so I'll direct this to you, Ethan. I'm assuming what you're asking here is, have there been any developments as far as libraries are concerned for fabrication parts for the products from Autodesk? And the answer to that is no, not that I'm aware of currently. However, and assuming hopefully you're going to AU, if you are, come on by ASTI's booth at AU, and we will show you what we actually have developed and underway for electrical fabrication and electrical design attachment, or basically an add-on to Revit. It's a product called BEM, Building Electrical Modeling Cars. It's the actual product itself is CARS. It's Cable and Raceway Systems, and it's extremely powerful and will be debuted at AU. There will be a class on it as well. So come by the booth. If you're not able to come by the booth, you can always ping us at ASTI. You can actually email me directly if you'd like. My email is wspier@asti.com, and I'll fill you in on all that. Where does the deflection occur? I'm not sure what that question means, the deflection. Do you know what that is, Lal or Gabe?
No, sir.
Okay. Sorry, I don't know what you mean by that, Jeff. Are you able to insert a fab part as a riser, which I think we just did as a riser? In other words, in a riser, in a vertical pipe? Maybe something else. I don't know. You may want to rewrite those, Jeff. Can you use the fill command to simulate, or can you use the fill command similar to the CAD version and fill between ends? Oh, can you do fill between ends in this environment?
No, not yet.
No. You can do it in Revit natively, and you can do it in CAD MEP natively, but you can't do it with fab parts in Revit yet. Dave Ronson, man, great question. Why is the sky blue? Leave it to Dave. Dave, we'll fix you up. We'll fix you up great on your LinkedIn. We'll answer that for you there. Okay, let's go back and try to put Jeff's questions here. Are you able to insert fab parts as a riser for sloping? I think we already answered that, but yeah, we haven't tested it. But if you have a slope pitch line, then you can insert that part just like you saw in a vertical or a horizontal. But you need to pitch that pipe first.
But what I'm wondering, I'm assuming, you know, what I'd be curious to look at is to see how that pipe is aligned coming up off that slope pipe. If it's, you know what I'm saying, if it's straight or crooked or...
offset.
Right.
Angular offset, yeah. Is AutoCAD going to remain the platform for creating and editing the CAD MEP, well, it'd be CAD MEP database? Yes. You want to take that one, Lyle?
Yeah, so, okay. I mean, in this release, really, I mean, CAD MEP this is more of a conversion type of tool. Gabe has shown you some of the enhancements that they've made already, and where we're at, I guess, you know, mid-release. But CAD MEP is still going to be the platform where you're going to do your spooling, you're going to edit your database, you're going to run your reports and costing and things like that.
Okay. Another question, do these objects, I'm assuming ITM objects here in Revit, recognize Revit equipment connections? I think, guys, what he means by that is when you have a Revit family, like a piece of equipment that has a pipe connector on it, you can start connecting ITM parts to that.
Yeah, I believe so, Gabe.
I'm sorry, yes. I'm sorry, yeah. I was...
but that
Revit
that
kind of fucked up.
You can, and then too, just on that note, you'll be able to export that equipment out and import it into CAD MEP, but it will not come back the other way. So if you're using that conversion tool to go back and forth, just remember really those equipment items will not come back into Revit at this time.
Right, so when you export back out of Revit, back into the fabrication, or back into the FAB MEP environment, CAD MEP environment, you can bring the piping back, but not the equipment.
Correct.
Okay, and I think Jeff went back trying to clean up his last question and rephrase. He said he meant a pipe segment in a vertical position, and he says that's what deflection is. So I think if we're understanding him correctly, the answer is yes. You can push the equipment down to CAD as solids. Can you do that?
Yeah, you'll be able to still save it out, the equipment, as a graphical item to bring it into fabrication, basically for graphical purposes, and it's a converted item at that time, and you can even save those items to your database, but they just won't come back into Revit.
And that's just kind of good to talk about with the new function, that last option with the solids and the voids. You can clean up a lot of those Revit families that have a lot of voids when you make that graphical exchange between Revit and CAD MEP. Again, you know, everything you can do to make them lean in CAD MEP you want to do. So make sure that you guys utilize some of that information or that new feature.
All right. Well, that actually wraps up the questions here. Jeff, we didn't get Jeff's question, apparently. We didn't understand him. So, Jeff, if you want to, please feel free. Go ahead and email me at ASTI. It's WSPIER, WSPIER. You can see it right there. You can click on it. You should be able to click on that. But WSPIER@ASTI.com, what you see on the screen. Go ahead and send that off to me, and I'll make sure we get in touch with you and sort through this. That pretty much wraps it up for today. The first person to throw us a curveball in asking all this was Brett Wainwright. So Brett, you're going to be looking for a $25 gift card, so we're going to circle back with you to send that off to you. So thank you for joining us, and I think with that we are good to wrap up. Anything else, Gabe? Lyle?
No, sir. Thank you very much, everybody, for attending.
See y'all at AU if y'all are going to be out there.
Yep, definitely come by our AU booth, especially if you want to see what's new for electrical. It's huge. All right, that's for fabricators and contractors, by the way, so stop on by. All right, everyone, have a great week. Thank you for joining us, or great weekend, I should say. Thanks for joining us.